Hi, and welcome to this episode of John's Model Kit Review. In today's fun review video, we'll be looking at the Academy/Hobbycraft Bf-109K-4 in 1/48 scale. The kit featured here is the Academy Special Edition Bf-109K-4. It's Academy kit number 12228. The original Hobbycraft Bf-109K-4 was released in 1995. This special edition boxing was released in 2010, and it includes a brass metal pitot tube and 2 brass machine guns. In this video, we'll go through the kit instructions, and I'll talk about any potential problem areas to watch out for during the construction phase of the build. We'll look at the surface detailing on the exterior of the kit, and we'll talk about the fit of the major parts. We'll also talk about the detailing on the smaller parts that make up the interior and the landing gear for the kit. We'll talk about the quality, the clarity, and the fit of the clear parts that are included. We'll look at the marking options that are included with this kit, as well as the decals themselves, and we'll talk about the quality of those. Additionally, I'll talk about any modifications that I'm making to the kit parts during the build. And I'll also go over any aftermarket parts that I plan to use during this build. A brief history of the Bf-109K-4. The Bf-109K was the last of the series to see operational duty and the last in the Bf-109 evolutionary line. The K-series was a response to the bewildering array of series, models, modification kits, and factory conversions for the Bf-109, which made production and maintenance complicated and costly, something Germany could not afford late in the war. The RLM ordered Messerschmitt to rationalize production of the Bf-109, consolidating parts and types to produce a standard model with more interchangeable parts and equipment. Additionally, flaws in the design of the airframe were also to be remedied. Series production of the Bf-109K-4 started in August of 1944. It was powered by the DB605D power plant. This engine had an emergency power rating of 1,600 horsepower at 6,000 meters, or right around 18,000 feet. Using methanol water injection and maximum boost, the K4 was the fastest of the Bf-109 series in World War II, and it could reach a maximum speed of 440 miles an hour at 7,500 meters, or 24,600 feet. Armament in the Bf-109K-4 consisted of a 30mm Mk-108 motor cannon, which often jammed while the aircraft was maneuvering in battle, and this left the pilot to fight with only 2 MG-131 50 caliber machine guns. Looking at the instructions, in step 1, we are building up the cockpit interior. The detail on the interior parts is sufficient for the scale. It's certainly not overdone, but it'll look fine through a closed canopy. I picked up this nice True Details resin cockpit, and I plan to use that during this build. In step 2, we're detailing the instrument panel, and then we're mounting that and the exhaust and the oil cooler and the interior of the aircraft inside the fuselage, and then we're closing the fuselage halves around those assemblies. You can see the detail on the exhaust here. It's definitely on the soft side, but it should look okay once the kit is finished. In step 3, we're mounting the upper engine cover as well as the machine guns. We're also adding the air intake and the elevators to the kit. I don't anticipate any fit problems here. However, the panel lines on the front engine cowl of this kit aren't really true to the prototype, and you may have to scribe some additional detail and fill in some panel lines if you want the front upper engine covers to be accurate. In step 4, we're just attaching the upper wings to the lower wing. This is very straightforward. One criticism of this kit is that it does not have the extended slats or flaps when it's on the ground, and these are molded in the closed position. On my example, I've actually cut out the leading edge slats. I've also cut out the flaps on this aircraft, and I've put them in a posable position. This didn't take very much work at all, and it will really add to the realism of the kit when it's finished. The instructions skip directly from step 4 to the step that's numbered step 7. In this step, we're just attaching the wing assembly to the fuselage assembly We're also adding the wheel cover blisters on top of the wing. I don't anticipate any problems with this step of construction, and you should be able to get a good wing to fuselage join here. In step 8, we're just building the main landing gear. The detail on the wheels themselves looks nice. I do have a resin replacement set that I will probably use in place of those. The landing gear legs themselves also look to be nicely molded. And the landing gear covers have detail on the inside, but no real detail on the external parts. In step 9, we're attaching the main landing gear to the aircraft as well as the tail wheel. The molding of the tail wheel strut itself is not great. There's quite a bit of flash on that. In step 10, we're building the external fuel tank and we're attaching that to the kit. I don't anticipate any problems here. In step 11, we're just building the prop and attaching that to the front of the aircraft. We're also attaching the armored plate that goes behind the pilot to the inside of the rear canopy. And in step 12, we're just attaching the clear parts and the DF loop antenna to the airframe. I would say that the clear parts on this kit are something that let it down quite a bit. The front windscreen, and that's part 2, is spider-webbed on my example. It is not very clear at all. And so I'm going to have to replace this with some other part. I haven't figured out exactly what I'm going to do here yet. I have several Bf-109 kits in the stash. I may see if I've got another part from another kit that I can use as a replacement here. Additionally, the framing on the rear part of the canopy is not clearly defined. It's very vague. There's not great clarity on these parts either. They're on the thick side. And I'm just not terribly happy with the clear parts on the kit. Moving on to the color and marking guide, there is one decal option included in this kit. It's a very colorful option. Unfortunately, the marking guide does not tell me anything about who flew this plane or where it was stationed. Looking at the decals themselves, these look to be of nice quality. They are in register, and my only concern here is that they might be a little bit on the translucent side, but I can't really tell that without putting them on a kit and seeing how they perform. Looking at the surface detail on the exterior of the kit, what surface detail is there is somewhat basic. It's primarily done with engraved panel lines, and for the most part, the panel lines are pretty consistent. This kit has really been surpassed in detail and fidelity to the original by the Hasegawa Bf-109K-4 and by the Eduard Bf-109K-4. On the plus side, this kit is very straightforward to build. It doesn't really present any major complications during construction. It's a quick build. It's not parts heavy. And this model is really suitable for younger modelers or modelers getting back into the hobby, or for someone who just does not want a fiddly Bf-109 build. Well, I'd love to know what you guys think. If any of you out there have built the Hobbycraft or Academy Bf-109K-4, please let me know in the comment section below. As always, I hope you found this video entertaining and informative, and until next time, model on.